Hello everybody, welcome again. My name is Mr. Ricky Stevens and I'm very happy that you decided to show up today. I'm going to be showing you another art video similar to the last one, except it's a little bit shorter, and I'm going to hopefully not go on so many tangents. I noticed in the last video things I need to improve on would be video length for these kind of projects, as well as my speaking ability. I have to go on a lot less tangents. I have to try and stay on point, but that's just something that I have to deal with. That's a thing that's always been a prominent part of my personality. I just love going on tangents. So now that we got that out of the way, what you are seeing before you is a profile picture that was commissioned from me by Jumebug.TCG from TikTok. Jumebug is an amazing and prominent member of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TikTok community, as well as one of the main members of the King of Games podcast, which I have been doing a lot of work for recently. They have been an amazing supporter of my artwork and my creativity. So they've been a huge supporter. So if you enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! Or you like podcasts, please consider go checking them out. I will link their channel down below, as well as any other relative channels for Jumebug as well. So please go check them out, give them some support. They've got some amazing projects, some amazing videos, and they're just a fun community to be a part of. So the project that Jume set out for me to do was to create a Sky Striker Kagari artwork with his face on it, and another change to it was to also include the Sky Striker drone token, which you will see in a moment. It's outstretched, it's floating on top of the outstretched hand that we have in the design here. So how this all started off was, you'll see throughout the video little flashes of some background images that I used to reference my line artwork. So I took the Kagari artwork, Jume sent me a picture of his face in the position that he wanted it, and I also took the card artwork for the Sky Striker drones, and I collaged them together, cut them out, edited them. I widened the shoulder width as well as the waist of Kagari to make the figure more masculine. As we were putting Jumebug's face on it, we don't want it to look too cut and paste here. As well as also the Sky Striker Ace drones. I didn't really cut that one out. I just kind of sized up the card and just placed it so I got the drone position where I wanted it. And then once I had all that done, I drew line artwork over everything, putting my style of line artwork in there, so very free form, scratchy, very sketch-like. Then once I got all the line work done and where I wanted it, I saved it in Photoshop as a PNG with a transparent background, and then transferred that file and opened it up in Adobe Illustrator, where I live traced it. Now what live tracing does with my line work is that when you sketch out something, all your lines are very thin. There are lots of repeating lines just to create one large shape, very scratchy, as I mentioned before. So what image trace allows me to do is it basically condenses all those lines into just vector shapes, and it fills everything else. So I get all these nice solid black lines, yet they still have the sketch look. As you can see on the skirt, there's still some lines that are pointing out from the corners. Some lines are very scratchy, they got gaps in them, but they're all solid black line imagery to really create that contrast and give some good contrast to the colors and the form of our Kagari Jume. And once I finished that, I just took that live traced file, put it back into Photoshop, and this is at the step we are at now, where we are coloring in our background, coloring in our figure. We're doing that on a different layer that is behind the line artwork. And right now, this is probably the part that I had the most difficulty on, which was getting the right skin tone. One thing that actually is good to note if you are also an artist and looking to improve your skills, one thing that we tend to do subconsciously, I think it is, unconsciously, doing it without our knowledge, One thing that we do a lot as artists is when we draw figures straight from our mind without any reference, the figures typically seem to look like us, the artists, and it's kind of a no-brainer because we live and see ourselves in the mirror every day, so it's easy to make references to something that you see every day. Specifically also in skin tone as well. I haven't done a lot of characters or skin tones that were not white as opposed to my own, because when I look at my skin I can see easily all of the colors underneath the kind of peach beige tone. I can see all the blues and greens of the veins and reds where my skin is probably thinner than most in other areas. So I can see those differences. I can get that really, really unique reference to it. But when we go to paint or try and create colors for people of other racial backgrounds, it's kind of hard because when we look at a picture, we're just looking at the top layer of the skin. There's not a lot of, we can't see a lot of the underlayers, and it's also what the photo only allows us to see, because we're not seeing somebody, we're not looking at somebody naked or something like that. We just want to get a basic skin tone. So I would implore artists to try and draw other people of other different cultural backgrounds, get a good range of it. And then coming back to here, so how I solved the problem trying to make sure that I got the exact correct skin tone for Jume was I just chose 3 different shades. As you can see there, I chose a brighter skin tone, a sort of a mid-range skin tone, a shaded skin tone, and then one that has a little bit more of a flesh tone in it for around the eyes, nose, and the lips. And then at a certain point in the video, I blend them all together and I add a little bit of an orange hue on top to represent the reflection of the fire and all the reds that are around there. But yeah, definitely skin tone was probably the hardest thing for me to do. And it's not really that it's difficult, it's mostly because I don't want to inaccurately represent the person I am drawing. It's just one of those things where I go at it with an air of caution because you don't want to accidentally, insult or misrepresent your client or your character that you're drawing. So after that, we're just doing a little bit of zooming out here. After putting in the colors, started on doing the flame effects, which we'll see again later on in the video. So right now we're just doing a little bit more, we're looking at more on the head. I'm just going to put the eyes in at this point. I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. This is actually, this whole process and technique is very similar to the technique that I used for my own profile picture. My own project, which is actually what motivated Jume to contact me. He saw my project, my process of creating my profile picture, and he came to me and said, can you do that for me too? And I thought, well, of course I can do that, and it was really fun. I honestly gotta say, doing commissions, it's really fun to be able to do them, to be able to assist somebody in bringing their vision and ideas to life. Artists, we really do serve a purpose, which is just that. It's to help bring the images that other people are having trouble translating to a visual medium. I think I mentioned it on the podcast episode. Which episode was it? Episode 13 of the King of Games podcast that I guest starred in. I remember I told them, I said, when you hire a plumber to fix your pipes, you see the tools that they use, and you can probably use most of those tools in your own life. If a mechanic or a plumber pulls out a wrench, or how to use a wrench. I think that a wrench is a pretty simple tool to use, just as how anybody can learn to use Photoshop or Illustrator. What the really big difference is between an artist and somebody who just knows how to use the program is that innate instinct of just knowing how to work the colors, that innate skill of fine handwork, and using these programs in tandem with each other to bring out the most out of your project and really get the idea across successfully. Because you can just slap colors and shapes onto a canvas and call it a design or call it artwork, but you can tell who actually has that innate instinct and those that don't. It's something that's really hard to explain, and it's interesting because I'm freshly going into digital artwork and I'm starting to understand why digital artwork is just as valid as traditional artwork. I used to go through my career saying that digital artwork is too perfect. It's all mechanical, it's automatic, it's lost some sort of heart to it. That was a really short-sighted and very elitist view that I had. Now I look at it as digital art is the same as any tool, and some people can just use the tools in a very specific and beneficial way that makes them an artist. Now, what specifically, like what I'm saying, like I don't really know. I know the general idea. It's something there, and maybe one day I'll find the right words to describe it. But for right now, I'm just glad that I'm able to expand my knowledge and skill set to be able to bring these types of projects, because these are so fun to do. Like, art is so fun to do, and the fact that you can actually make money off of it and create a living off of it, like that's a real dream for me. It really is. It's a type of dream that I can't picture myself doing anything else. Like, I can't picture myself doing some sort of big office job, or being a political leader, or a lawyer, or a doctor, or a mechanic, or a plumber, or a carpenter, or someone who works in customer service. There's nothing else that I can picture myself doing for the rest of my life other than using my creative skills to provide a service for those who do not have the skill set to bring their ideas to life. That's really the service that I provide. Is I provide that middleman that allows your idea to travel from your brain to a visual medium so you can show it to the world. That's kind of really my whole mission statement, I guess. So now we're coming to a very interesting part in the project. This is the next big step. This is where I add the highlights and shadows. Now, instead of going through and just manually picking every single color and then painting over them, what I've done is I've created a brightness contrast mask, and I've pulled up the brightness to first run through is 100. So I go to 100 plus brightness in that mask setting, and then I color the entire canvas on that mask, which you can see highlighted there in the middle right there, that black square that's slowly filling up with white. So the white is basically, you can picture it as everything where the light, or quote unquote edit, will pass through. So the only the things that are covered in the white mask will be affected by the brightness setting. And with a paintbrush that has like 0% hardness, it's 100% soft brush, with that you're able to really put in that soft light, which is what I do with the first pass at 100 brightness. Later on I'll go through it again with a second pass with 150 brightness to make more stark highlights, and then we'll do the reverse of it, and I will do 100 plus shadow for soft shadows, and then 150 plus shadows for very hard shadows. And this is really where the art piece starts to take shape and take form, is when we add in those contrasting lights and shadows. That's where the shapes really come in. Before that, it's very, very flat, very flat. But now we're actually starting to see this shape come into play, and all these metals and surfaces as well. That's another thing as well, as like the surface of all these different materials, because we're going to have fabric portions, we're going to have metal portions, there's going to be fire reflections as well. So we got to get really crazy and really create these contrasts, especially in something with like fire. When you got something that's close to a direct light source like fire, or even just a lamp, when you do your shading, you want to have really contrasting shades and highlights, because the closer you get to a light source, just the more like you'll be able to see it. Like next time you're near a lamp or something like that, just take your hand and see the difference when you move it far away and then when you move it closer. What you'll discover is the farther you move away from your light source, the softer the light is, the softer the contrast of all those shadows are. As soon as you move it right up close to a light, those shadows are going to become really, really hard cut as the light is just piercing through. It hasn't been diffused enough. It's coming directly from the light source. So try that out and really see those differences. And I think that's probably one of the best ways to improve in your artwork is when you're looking for references, just use your own body. Use your own body, go up to a light source, look at it in the mirror, see how your body bends and folds. It's just use yourself. You are your own best mannequin, to be completely honest. You can get some mannequin figures, like those wooden figures, but they don't have any musculature on top of it, and they're all usually the same form, very average body size. You need to have some range when you're drawing figures or you want to get into artwork a lot bit more. You need to really increase your range. Draw people of different sizes, draw people of different cultures, like I mentioned before, draw people with different styles as well. You can draw someone who's you can draw a male figure who's very feminine, or you could do a feminine figure that's very male. People are very unique, and you should draw as many unique people as you can. Sorry, I just thought I heard something knocking at my window. I hope not. I'm already 16 minutes in, and I'm not restarting this all over again. This is all one take. Every single one of my art videos that I do is all one take. I literally just grab some water, pull up the video that I'm going to be narrating over, and then I just let the recording go. That's it. Which is why I gotta work on not going on tangents as much anymore. But as you can see here, now that we're on the shadows, this is our final pass of the shadow layer. So this is the darkest shadows, and you can see in the video I did a really generic pass over for all of the background armatures. The fire pot, like the pyres of fire, like these little jets that are on this armatures on Kagari Jume's back. Those I just did a simple pass over because of my light source is going to be coming from in front of our character, so we're not going to be seeing a lot of light source on the back, so helping that and actually putting those shades on there helps push that whole setup, that whole armature further into the background, and then it pulls Jume Kagari out to the front. So very quickly now we're about to see the final product, and it's looking absolutely fantastic right now. I definitely gotta say I had a lot of fun with this project, and it was a little bit of a learning experience. In terms of the fire effects and the lighting, that was something new that I did, adding on these glowing effects from the fire and putting them on top of Jume as well. So that was very different, and I'm glad how it turned out. At the end of the video, you'll be able to see the finalized commission, which Jume has very much enjoyed. So Jumebug, thank you very much for your commission. I'm glad that you enjoyed your piece, and I hope to do more work for you and other Yu-Gi-Oh! TikTokers in the future. And if you would also like to get a commission done by me for any sort of project that you are working on, please feel free to contact me on my social media platforms. You can contact me on Instagram or TikTok, or if you know me on Discord, you can contact me there as well. Just tell me your idea, we'll figure out a commission price, and then I'll be on my way. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Please consider subscribing and commenting, and if you want to support my work yet you can't do so financially, either by buying my merch or getting a commission done, the best thing that you can do to support your local artists and your favorite artists, not just me, is by sharing the work. So go ahead and click that share button, smash that subscribe button, as most YouTubers say, I guess, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. If you enjoy the type of content that I produce and would like to support my work, please consider heading on over to merch.streamelements.com/Mr. Ricky Stevens Art. There you can find t-shirts and hoodies with my artwork on them. So consider checking it out. Again, that is merch.streamelements.com/Mr. Ricky Stevens _art.